Hey guys, thanks for checking us out. This is Band for Life. This is our second video. Thanks for coming back. My name is Grainger. This is
Pete.
And we're back for our second ever YouTube video / podcast. And this week we've got a guest on from actually somebody I know really well because he's one of my best friends. But he's in my current band. He's been in lots of other bands. I don't know how many, but quite a few. And that is Mr. Chris Dougherty.
Yeah, he's been around the block band-wise.
He has indeed.
But he's a great player, and multi-instrumentalist as well.
Yeah, he does. He plays drums, guitar. He can play bass, no doubt, and he does do some melodies as well. So he does do a bit of everything. So we'll get him in.
Yeah, man. Definitely. So, we are here, if you missed last week, or you're new, or you're watching us in 5 years' time. We're here to put a spotlight on smaller gigs, unsigned gigs, pub, club, bar, circuit kind of gigs. You think?
Yeah, because there are things that go on that I want to know, and there are things that go on that I know about, and there's an unlimited amount of viciously ridiculous stories out there, and we want to find them and bring them to you.
Yes.
For your entertainment pleasure.
Yes, definitely.
And that's the idea about him. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Chris has got a few of those for us.
So Grange, what is new this week, my friend?
This week, I have been listening to... Well, first of all, we're going to talk about the album that you recommended for me last week, which we're going to get onto a little bit later on. But this week, really, not so much. What about you?
This week, I had to admit that I was wrong.
Okay.
In listening to people on the YouTube and things talking about you should have such and such gear and you should have this in your guitar and blah 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 blah. Long story short, I bought a Mexican Telecaster. In fact,
yeah,
there it is. A couple of years ago, in fact, we both drove down to Oxford to go and pick it up.
Oh, we did. I remember. I was with you.
Yeah, it's now. I bought it to teach myself how to modify guitars and things. And it's now heavily modified. I put in a Seymour Duncan pickup in it that I loved, but it's not by any stretch is it vintage spec or anything. It's really hot output. And then I put in a really low output 50 spec boutique Monty's pickup in it. I wasn't feeling it. Kind of ruined the guitar for me.
Ruined it.
Yeah. I really wanted to be like, I mean, great pickup. It is a great pickup. Can't take it away from him, the guy that makes it. But I just wanted my screaming hot telly back. Yeah.
Was it just original pickups originally?
No. Came with the original Fender pickups. They got changed out straight away. So yeah, it's got my Seymour Duncan back in it now. So I got my screaming telly back. So I've been playing that a lot this week.
To be honest with you, I've actually been looking at selling one of my basses this week, and that is I have a Tanglewood. If anybody's out there, I probably sold it by the time this video gets launched. I have I can't remember the name of the model, but it's a Tanglewood, left-handed, of course. No scratch plate, very scratched all over because of my intense picks playing style, and there's it's the kind of woody effect one, kind of like a light brown. And when I first got it, I actually loved it, and I thought I might keep it as like a kind of at-home practice bass. But I've noticed it is really, really fucking heavy. Like,
yeah,
it for the make of guitar being Tanglewood, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on with it. It's just, and the more I play it, the more I don't feel it. So I've also got an Ibanez bass. I can't remember the model. I can't remember the model of any of them, and that is so much nicer to play on the board. Just like it gets thinner down the neck, so it's a lot easier to play. Whereas this Tanglewood is just fat, and it's not. I don't know if it's either not curved enough on the back or not flat enough. But like the way my thumb sits on the back of it doesn't sit. I don't know. I just don't like it. Doesn't sit as nice as on the Ibanez.
Yeah, you tend to find as well with the weight thing, with the lower spec, because your Tanglewood bass is relatively low spec, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean for Tanglewood, it's not bad. Compared
you tend to find the wood selection process that they go through isn't as good as the higher quality stuff.
So I'm probably going to get, I might get less than 100 for it. I don't think I paid that much for it. But yeah, so I'm going to sell that. And then I've got the Ibanez, and then I've also got my Warwick, which is my baby.
Yeah, that's nice, that one.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it this week in terms of the music world. Just playing a bit of bass, practicing, and listening to the album, which we're going to come on to later on.
Yeah,
but,
great.
For now, interesting to know what you're thinking about YouTube there. So don't always listen to what the YouTubers say about changing your stuff.
No, you need to kind of we're edging here into a gear territory, but the more I got really hooked on all the YouTube demos and things a while ago, and it was like, oh, I need to get myself this, I need to get myself that, I need to get myself that, and then the more of this stuff that you actually play, the difference is minimal. Like, you could get a one pedal, like a Tube Screamer, and you can pick up a Tube Screamer now used for like 80, 90 quid, maybe 100. And then you get like a boutique version of a Tube Screamer that, yes, will be made better, might last a bit longer, and sound ever so slightly different. But actually, when you put it into a band mix, there's a reason why everyone uses a Tube Screamer.
Yeah, I think that it comes down to a bit of the kind of old Chinese proverb and the famous last words of basically what sounds better is the thing you should go for, and it's not always necessarily the most expensive thing, is it?
If it sounds good to you and you like it, it's good.
I've seen videos of YouTubers and stuff where they get guitars that are literally worth like $50 or 50 quid. And they like modify them to make them sound good, and or they'll get a pedal and they'll make, I've heard like they got Behringer pedals and stuff, and it's an all right sound. Like they're getting all right sounds out of it compared to a much better pedal, which does sound better. But then I guess it's giving you the kind of price difference, because if you want to go for XYZ pedal that's 300 quid, but it sounds better, but then you can get a pedal for 50 quid, which doesn't sound quite as good, but is it that noticeable? It really does depend on what you use it for.
And if you like it, and it does what you need to do, and it makes you pick up your instrument and play, and it inspires you to write or to practice or to play whatever you want to play, then it's good. You don't necessarily need someone saying, yeah, you need this vintage spec, whatever, you need this high-end boutique pedal. Like, you just don't. You can go out there, you can gig with a very basic amp and a basic guitar, and as long as you're happy, then nothing else matters.
Nothing else matters.
Yeah, that.
Amazing.
Yeah, that.
Cool. Well,
Shall
I think
we
it's time.
Introduce today's guest?
We shall. It is the one and only Chris Dougherty. He's from Stomping Ground, which was his old band. He's been in many other bands as well. He's currently in my band, which is called World Held Hostage. We were originally called Against the Grain. And before that, we even had another name called Two Steps Back. And before that, me and Chris were a two-piece in another band when we first started, which was called Tommy's Toy Gun. But we're probably not going to get onto all of those. We're just going to get onto one of them, no doubt.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Anyway, we'll get him on. So this week, we've got a very special guest from a very special band. This is my very good friend, Chris Dougherty.
Can we omit the part where he says I'm his friend and then gets my name wrong?
Well, actually, in the first episode, he actually gets his own name wrong right at the beginning.
It should be a running theme from now on.
So yeah, this could be a thing.
Band World held hostage.
No, that bit's staying in.
It's all stay.
His real name is Chris Dougherty, right? But he can tell us that himself.
What?
Yeah, right. So for anyone who doesn't know, you guys are in the same band, World Held Hostage.
That's right.
For now.
He says he's in the band, but he's just a stand-in.
So you get replaced by an actual bass player.
Maybe. I'm sure they can both play bass better. Ooh.
Oh my god.
Oh, this is gonna not end well for you, Granger.
It's gonna be a slating match. I know, but I'll be like, oh god.
He's not in the band for his technical ability, but he's one of the best people on stage you'll ever find.
Yeah.
People draw to him on stage. Like, he could be even worse than he is. He's not a bad bass player, but he's not like technically amazing. But he doesn't need to be. Like, he's the draw on stage.
Difficult to get root notes wrong, to be fair.
Well, you're pretty much a frontman without being the frontman.
I do a little bit of the talking in between songs, yeah.
Yeah, which you're not allowed to do because of some of the stuff you come out with.
Oh my god, some of the shit he used to come out with when he actually was the frontman. Oh my god.
What? These are the things that aren't planned either. These are the things that a lot of the time, although we kind of try and plan what we're going to say, it never works, does it? No, we always just come out with whatever's happening at the time, like, oh, lady in a purple dress.
Scripted. You're good at remembering scripts and acting something out, but when you're left to just say your own thing.
Well, Chris, you've been in loads of bands, haven't you? You've not just been in so you and me have been in bands for years that have taken various different names, but you've been in tons of bands, more than me, like loads more than me.
I think I've been in about 20 odd, 30 odd.
So
some obviously don't last very long.
Mm.
Others more of a role of a mentor, teaching people how to actually be in a band.
Yeah, I've had a few of them.
You know? It's like the band, attempt of a band that was between existence. It was literally a bunch of 17-year-olds that thought it'd be really cool to be in a band, and they supported us one time at the Spinning Top, and it was the most tragic thing I've ever seen.
She might watch this, dude. I'm just giving a name away.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to bring out a bleep, aren't I?
They were.
It was tragic because they didn't know how to organise a band. Like one of those mistakes amateurs make where you get two guitarists in a band and then they stand next to each other on stage and have both the amps next to each other.
And play the exact same thing.
They're exactly the same setting. But yeah, they were that type of band that were... they thought you could pick up an instrument and then next minute you were a musician.
Yeah, we were that band, Grange.
We were that band.
We were talking about that last week. We were that band.
I decided I was a singer, not because I could sing, but because I decided I was a singer.
Yeah, but then you went and put hard work into it.
Yeah. I mean, we say hard work. I had singing lessons and I practiced shouting at home, and now I know karaoke, and I'm like...
Now you're the karaoke king.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, Granger
6 Tesco awards down already.
Say again?
6 Tesco awards down already.
It was only 2 Tesco awards. But anyway, this isn't about me.
Oh my god.
Let me just get them out.
It was like,
I just happened to carry
as a musician you should learn, tuning your instrument, for one, or learning how to use a tuner so you can tune your instrument. And they couldn't do any. Before they even played, I had to tune their instruments for them.
I was at this gig.
You were at this gig, yeah, because 3 days played as well.
Well, I was going to say, did we play at this gig?
Yeah. You did.
I think I did 2 sets. Yeah, I think
Did they use your...
You did.
That was our last ever gig, Pete.
Didn't they use your guitar?
Yeah.
Was there a left-hand
They used
guitar?
my guitar. Yeah, they used, because Chizzy, the girl in the keep saying it. The girl, she used my guitar during her set. I think I just said I could. I think she asked because she wanted to borrow it because she likes a nice.
We met them from a practice space, didn't we? So
it's a Heyman 2020 for anybody who's wondering. But it's one of the. I don't know. I tried to look it up online. I don't know whether it's Heyman or Sherwood. It says Heyman, but something to do with Sherwood in the 70s.
I think they're sister companies.
Yeah, and it's like a really old one, and she said it's the best guitar she ever played. I don't know what its value is now, but I know that I had it valued by a guy who said it was worth a lot more than what I paid for it. So
yeah, we knew that when you got it.
Yeah, element was played by a famous musician or something.
No, I don't know.
So I mean, if you compare that to all the basses you own, I remember that amp you bought for a gig when we were playing Debdale Park. You bought it off a guy that was an amp technician, and it didn't even work when you got it on stage.
Was this that Carlsbro that you bought for about a tenner?
It
was. You bought it for like 20 quid and then you sold it for 30 quid afterwards.
It was a Carlsbro. It wasn't the grey guitar amp that we had, Pete, when I was in 3 days. It was the Carlsbro that I bought.
Yeah, because
20 quid. No, I think
I play a 3 days gig with it.
Oh,
I wouldn't let you.
Yeah, and when I actually took it back to him because it didn't work, I ended up being the sound engineer of that entire gig, actually. Like, literally.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Chris?
At the carnival.
I ended up being the sound engineer because they didn't really. They'd had an amp and they were like, "Oh, everyone's gonna. This is our PA system." Like, what? I think I came and borrowed.
What do you mean?
They did have a PA system, but the person who was supposed to supply it bailed out on him last minute.
Yeah, it was really. So I think I came and borrowed. Did you have a system, Chris? Was it your Bose?
We borrowed one off my dad and Lenny.
Yeah, at the time they were
karaoke system for it.
And it was the Bose, and we set up and
Yeah.
Desk and stuff.
Actually, it sounded really well because the Bose speakers are quite good.
I ended up basically being an engineer. It was a charity do, so I didn't mind. But I remember one of the organisers kept coming up to me and saying, "Oh, are you for the next band coming on?" I'm like, all right. Like, just trying to get a hot dog here, you know. Yeah, and it didn't work. I took it back to the guy, and he fixed it for me for free. And he was like, "Oh, I can't believe 30 quid, and I've got to do all this work on it." I'm like, "Well, you should have sold it, hooky, you know." And he said that what was wrong with it was when he took the thing out, the amp thing. He said it was just full of dust. It's just like
it was full of water.
So he was selling a refurbished, reconditioned amp that he'd not refurbished and reconditioned.
He said he tested it before he gave him and it worked fine, but obviously it didn't.
As soon as you moved it, there was dust in it.
As soon as I moved it, he said it clogged some up and then it didn't work. I was like, oh my God. So I did actually sell it for a profit, believe it or not, a £10 profit, but with the fuel getting into this guy's house and back, probably not.
Only
faulty gear is fun and games. So Stomping Ground gig I played once, and we were told just to bring your usual stuff as a drummer, so like your bass pedal, your snare drum, and they said there were stands there. What's the X stands there? They barely had a house drum kit. It was basically just the bass drum and then a tom that had half the skin left on it. Not even on both sides, just like one side was half a skin, so I had to duct tape across the whole skin and play everything on my snare with a guy holding my cymbals in his fingers. Diabolical. There was like a half a boom stand from a drum kit, just like holding it up like that while you try to play.
Serious? Oh
yeah.
My.
Oh, there's some terrible.
Where it was?
Punk. It was McGuires Pizza Bar in Liverpool. And then they got some. It's the same place where we went, and you ended up having to bust into your boot of your car.
Now
because you put your keys in your boot when all the equipment was gone, and I shut the boot because it was empty, and you're like, my keys are in there. I'm like, who shoves the fucking keys in an empty boot? Nobody. Nobody.
This is the story. Was it at the time? Was it Against the Grain?
No, it's you were helping Stomping Ground out.
Oh, was I? I was driving you guys there, right? So I was being like roadie, and yeah, this story is actually, this is your fault. Like you're saying this, I put my keys in the boot. I don't know, because I was getting the stuff out.
Hang on. Who the fuck puts their keys into the boot?
Thank you, especially when it's empty after you've got all your gear out.
Like,
it was a Ford Escort. It was an old 1998 Ford Escort, and then Chris. No. Anyway, tell me what happens with the guy. Do you remember the guy?
We were there for about half an hour with a hammer and a screwdriver, like, into the lock, trying to get it out. Couldn't get it out. Obviously, we were playing with some Scouts fans, and the Scouts guy just walks up and goes, "I'll get it out," touches the boot, and it just pops open like it's terrifying. It was like, you couldn't have timed it any better. He just walks over, casually, and just went boom, straight open.
I was like, you've done this
And he
before.
just walks away, giggling himself off, just like amateurs.
Honestly. Yeah. So McGuires Bar is in the middle of Liverpool, and we're all like trying to get, because the car itself was an old car. It didn't have any alarms or anything, so we're
I've never had a new car.
I've never had a new car. No.
Your idea of a new car is 7 years old, been in someone's garage, and you bought for 300 quid.
Seven is, I've never had a car 7 years.
7's new for Granger.
7 is really new. I've never had anything that's not older than 10. Yeah, he came with the. I don't know where we got the hammer thing. I think we got it from inside the bar. I think the bar gave us. And he just literally came. We were like trying to dig away at it, me and Chris, for ages. And everyone's looking at us like, what the fuck are you trying to do? Like, it's all right, it's my own car. He literally just comes up, goes boink, and the boot just literally springs open. It's like, shit, man. Yeah, that was a good gig. I remember watching that. And that was McGuires Bar as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's a shame that it's gone, man. It was a good little venue for punk music. The front of it was like a pizza place, and then there was like a full wall that was like a load of books, and you just pulled it open and you go into the venue at the back, and they give out free pizza at the last, like when the last band were playing the last song. But it was a typical punk venue. There was like holes in the walls. You know, like when you think of a stereotypical grimy crack house, basically. It wasn't. Like the actual front hat side of it was amazing, looked great, really hygienic, and you go out the back and it's like they just couldn't be arsed anymore. Just let everyone have at it and throw each other into walls and shit.
Yeah, cool.
Shit. I do recall it. I recall the pizza being pretty good. I recall the gig being all right, and the bands on were good. Because Stomping Ground were very much a kind of old school punk sound, would you say? Or?
Oi punk, old school style punk. So we played a lot of gigs with people like the UK Subs and Vice Squad, you know, Random Hand, people like that. Quite an old feel.
Is there any links to some Stomping Ground stuff at the moment, just in case anybody out there in the YouTube world wants to listen to this?
There's probably some really badly edited videos on YouTube, which I don't suggest you go, because the bass player that left me in Belgium that time has monetized them for the whole 200 views that they get.
Ricard's got like 0.0000 a penny, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Are you happy to tell that story? I already know this story, to be fair.
A story where a punk band go to do a DIY tour around Europe, and the bass player drinks half a litre of whiskey, has 4 bottles of calm sleep medication, and leaves you in Belgium. Yeah, great
Wow.
story.
Wow, I thought we'd had some shit gigs.
Oh,
Wow.
no, man. All right. So he decides to do this whole thing where we'll hunt for a van or whatever to go on tour with. Makes a big thing about it. Ends up buying his brother's, like, is it an Escort? Giant booted car, whatever they're called? Estate car.
Oh, an estate, like Escort estate.
You could fit a full-size pool table in the back once it was like all the seats were down and shit. We piled all of our gear into it, like shoved 40 quid in the tank, just drove down to Dover because we got a load of gigs booked. Got on, all's good. We've not been asleep for like 12 hours. Get into port and like, right, first gig, Belgium. And he's like, oh, I'm fine, let's just drive there straight away and find somewhere to camp. We've been driving for about 24 hours, we get to camp, and he's like, oh yeah, let's have a drink. He's buzzing off his face because he's had loads of calm sleep medication. But I don't know why he was buzzing, because it's supposed to put you to sleep, for one.
Maybe it's like a kickback where you stay awake.
And we're just in the tent, and he's getting more and more wrecked. Next minute, he's got a knife, and he's going like this on his hands. Then starts saying to me, I'm a right nut job. Basically, effing and jeffing and swearing. We're at a family bloody camping site. Like, none of us could speak a word of Belgium. The fact is, we didn't even know we were in Belgium. We still thought we were in France. It wasn't only after Rick had, like, gone crazy mad, drove off with his gear, and we're like, what, has he just fucked off? Comes back 10 minutes later, he's like, did you really think I was going to fuck off? I'm like, yeah, you're pissed out your fucking face. So we weren't going anywhere. Throws another hissy fit, and literally does drive off. Like, me and Scott got a text like 2.5 hours later saying that he got to Dover. I'm like,
Wow.
So you didn't even get to your first gig?
Nope, didn't get to the first gig. In fact, he took all the food, all the loo roll and everything. And I tell you what, wearing extra pairs of socks was a bliss for that man. I mean, what else are you going to wipe with? Seriously, family campsite, all we had was like all of our gear that he dumped where we had to fit into the tent. And then just... that was it, because he drove off with all the food and everything. I just put another €60 in the car as well. And like all of our phones had died because we've been driving for so long and not found anywhere to charge it. The campsite didn't have any electricity or anything. So me and Scott the next morning we decided to go for a walk, and that's when we found out we were in Belgium and not France, because Scott was doing his whole bunch of girls came out swimming baths near the campsite, and he was like, "Hey, English, French," and they just looked at me and went, "You're in Belgium." I was like, okay. And we went for a nice long walk for like 2 hours and walked down to the beach where there was a library and charged our phones in the library.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I never lived it down, man. My dad had to drive from London, where he was working, back to Stockport to pick up his passport and then drive to Belgium to pick us up. It was like a 2,000-mile round trip for something. We're in a Lenny. In the meantime, me and Scott were just walked into the sports bar and met a guy in a punk band called Revenge 88 from the 60s and just got drunk with him for like 2 days waiting for my dad to turn up.
Could you not do the gigs as a two-piece? You were...
I had my drum kit and my amp, because Scott was using my amp at the time, but that was it.
Nice. Because Scott used to sing, didn't he? But then it got taken, but the guy who drove off, he was the singer then.
Scott and Rick used to sing.
That's a pretty intense... That's a pretty intense situation to be in.
Yeah. Oh, hey, there's some amazing gigs for Stomping Ground. There was terrible ones like that, and then there was the opposite ones where you were played with Vice Squad when they played at Whittles in Oldham, and they were like just launched a new album a couple of years ago, and the place was packed. So it was good, like 300 people rammed in there. And the best bit, it was my best gig as a drummer. Like, it's the only time I've had people in semi-famous bands come up to me and go, "Mate, you fucking powerful as hell drummer." And then for him on his own set to go massively out of time, it was like, yes.
That'll be a nice little ego boost.
I was like, for that one gig, it was like I played the best I played in ages, and everyone else just messed up all their sets. So I was the only competent drummer for a gig in front of 300 people that actually knew our songs. So I was like, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And when you get a reaction like that, if there's hundreds of people there, like you were saying, like, and Whittles, by the way, is we've been Whittles, haven't we, Pete? We played there as well.
I liked it.
Brilliant venue. Oh, I recommend it highly. I loved it.
It's not there anymore.
Oh.
They've got like an outdoor stage at the moment.
Yeah.
Sort of new part of. They're trying to be called Whittles, but it's the same people who ran Whittles in a different bar, basically. They're trying to keep the theme going.
Yeah, they're one of the few places that I've seen still putting on gigs through COVID.
Yeah, because they're all outside, so they can do it. They've got an outside truck.
It's been tough. I mean, how has COVID affected your current band, Chris?
To be fair, because of Richard leaving the band,
it was a good
we've
time.
never been able to do many live gigs anyway, because we'd have had to have got Dee up to scratch.
She's I think
great. She's learnt the songs really quickly just from Richard showing her and picking up the tabs and stuff. She's got the same presence on stage as Richard, just stand there and look mysterious while she fiddles the guitar. It works, because you and me bounce around quite a lot on stage, so as a dynamic for it to work. So, and really, we've been focusing on recording the album. So for us, like, in terms of live gigs, it's not really affecting much. Bar maybe not being able to enter the Metal to the Masses, because it was all cancelled.
Yeah, I think we would have. I mean, I think we would have played more, like, just my personal opinion, that we may have not played as because we had to get Dee up to scratch. It would have been a break anyway, but I think that we would have played something by now. I really, because we used to get.
Yeah, we would have been ready by now to play some gigs.
I am ready now to be playing gigs.
Exactly.
I've missed it way more than I thought I would this year.
There's a few open mic nights that still go on every now and then that I've managed to get to. So I've had my little bit scratch.
And they've been good, but we haven't done anything significant.
It's not the same with everyone sat down, is it? Sat down, not being able to move. Or...
the first one we played in the middle of COVID was at some pub, and they put us on outside, and there must have been 200 people there. They were all started out sat on hay bales, and then after about 3 songs, we're all absolutely pissed up front, bouncers trying to hold them back. If it wasn't a COVID gig, it would have been amazing. Well, it was good, but if the police turned up, it'd have been shut down in no time.
Because this is your current band.
Playing songs that everyone knows as well, being a cover band.
Yeah, Pete's in a cover band now as well, guys. Just for the viewers, is in an Oasis tribute act.
Yes.
Which we'll probably talk about at some point in the future, no doubt.
Yeah, because we've had some good ones. So you guys have got an album coming out.
Yeah.
Have we got a release date yet?
So release date? Don't do release dates. We do that ourselves on the cheap. The plan. We've got some of it being mastered as we speak. Because Richard, the guitarist, has basically recorded it all for us. Mm-hmm. You know, he's taken on himself to do that because he feels guilty leaving the band for a job. But you know, it's the best recordings we've ever had, to be honest. And I've been in and out a lot of studios over the years trying to get the right sound for the songs I've written. And nothing ever seems to give you that right feel, where it's got that live edge, but it's not so live and raw that it sounds like you've just stuck up a phone in the middle of a room and recorded it. The plan with that, there'll be a few videos, get a few songs mastered at first, and then we're going to drip feed them in like little clips, and then do a few quick videos, like lyric videos and stuff, over the next few months. Try and build some real interaction. Because I don't have $6,000 to spend on marketing.
So have you got any World Held Hostage links, shout-outs? Where can you find them?
Shout-outs.
I believe we've just got an Instagram now. Yes, finally. Like, we're all really, really bad.
20 years behind the time, right? What's this Instagram I've been hearing about? Is there a new takeout?
Grainger, you haven't got Instagram, so be quiet.
I have.
Why? I don't. Never used it a day in my life.
I start using it more.
If you go to worldheldhostage.com, you'll find us. That's our actual website. Never.com.
We're on Facebook too, and we're on all the other places.
SoundCloud. There is a link somewhere. I'll get it, yeah. At some point.
One in the description.
Yeah.
Here.
To the teaser of the album, there's like 4 songs with about a minute clip-ish of each song.
Might put a link to the teaser just up here.
Just here.
Awesome, dear world. Well, we're going to leave it there. So thank you so much for coming on. Chris from Stomping Ground, old band, and World Held Hostage, current band. We'll probably get you on again in the future to chat about many of your various other bands that you've been a part of, been in, and you've probably got a hell of a lot more stories to share.
Yeah, there's quite a few, I guess.
Awesome. So we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, then. So this brings us to our next section, where this week we have actually picked an album.
We have. And we had the album last week. We spoke about it after the last video. And the album that we got chosen to listen to
is Gary Clarke Jr., This Land.
It is Gary Clarke Jr., This Land. Do you want to go first, Liz? Because this is actually... I know it's like a parrot. This was your recommendation, right? So we spun for it, basically. We spun for who would pick the first album, and Pete won. So I was listening to it. So I'm quite new to it. I'll give you my thoughts in a second. But you've known this guy for a while, haven't you? So, well, you've heard of him for a while. So,
well, I've known of him. A lot of people talking about him, and I've got to be honest. This was actually the first thing that I checked out from him. And oh my God, I love it. I think it's great. His play, like, I'm a guitarist. Like his sound, his feel, his like note choice, everything is just incredible.
It's definitely guitar music, I'll definitely say that. But not in the way that people might think it's guitar music. Because I was surprised when I listened to it, I must admit.
Yeah.
I was taken aback. So when I first put the album on, the first song, I wasn't sure, you know? I was like, I don't know about this. I'm not sure if this is going to be my cup of tea. What I will say is the album does grow on you. I've listened to it a few times now, and it definitely does grow on you. And it's quite amazing how quick a few of the songs have kind of stuck in my head a little bit. And for me, the strange thing about this album for me, right, is because it is guitar music and it is very bluesy.
Yeah.
It's quite a long album. I almost feel like it's like listening to two separate albums. And the reason why is I feel like the first half of the album, apart from maybe the one song I'm going to mention, has a very kind of new modern blues feel, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Where it's blues, but it's mixed in with like, you know, pop elements or like kind of like more like modern elements. The second half of the album, not all of it, there's a couple in there that again have got a modern twist, to me feels like more real blues music with like the guitar is really focused. In fact, the entire album, the guitar is so center driven.
Yeah. The guitar's really central to the whole feel. Okay, yeah, I could go with that. I'm just going to throw into the ring. I think it's got a hip hop feel to some of it.
Yeah, that's the first song definitely, and a few other parts as well.
Yeah, I really like it. Standout tracks for me are track 9, Pearl Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of a laid back. Kind of reminds me of Prince a little bit. I think it's that falsetto-y kind of. Yeah, it's like kind of Princey. Second one that really stands out to me is Got My Eyes on You. That is just great. That's just a great rock song. And then the last one that I really like is The Guitar Man.
The Guitar Man.
Yeah, it's track 11. It's kind of upbeat, bouncy, feel good.
It's interesting because I thought that I would prefer some of the older style tracks, like the second half of the album, but all of my recommendations actually come from pretty much the first half of the album. But one of them in particular gives me a 70s punk vibe, which is really why I like it. And my standout tracks are, there it is, I really like track 2, What About Us?
Yeah.
That's definitely got a modern feel to it. Track 3, I Got My Eyes on You, Locked and Loaded, is a tune. That's really catchy, actually. And then the other one is Gotta Get Into Something.
Oh, yeah.
And Gotta Get Into Something is the one that is the kind of punky one. I hope it is that one now. It's the kind of punky vibe one. It's got a real old school fuzz vibe to it. Well, maybe not that fuzz, but it's, yeah. And it's a 17-track album. It's a long album. And the guy's voice is good as well. Like,
oh, yeah, he's great.
Do you know, I feel like, who's the artist that did the Iron Sky song? Is it Bruno Mars?
Oh, no. Paolo Nutini.
Paolo Nutini. Now, I'm not saying that he sounds like Paolo Nutini, but a few of the tracks, I can't remember which one to be exact, but it's actually got that kind of vibe in his voice, especially with the Iron Sky song that came out.
Yeah, I can see that.
Kind of husky yet smooth kind of tone.
I can see that. So, come on, what did you think overall? This was my choice this week.
Yeah. I mean, overall for me, so it's great because actually I don't listen to that much guitar type albums where you can tell that it is guitar driven. I don't listen to much blues, to be fair. So it's a new one for me, and it did grow me. When I first listened to it all the way through, I was a bit, especially the first half. But then on second run through, third run through, those songs at the start started to go in my head and stick in a bit.
Yeah.
I would overall, if I was going to rate it, I would give it a good solid B+. Yeah.
Okay. From you, that's quite good, I think.
I'd give it a B+. And if we're going to rate it, if we're going to rate things from A plus to
planning on
you're not doing
the
that.
rating, but
Okay.
we could give it a B+ as your ballpark.
A B+ is what I would say out of the ratings. We'll go from, if we're going to do this every week, we'll go from A+, A minus, B+, B, B minus, C+, C, C minus, and then we could even go just straight to F, which is awful, hating it.
Okay.
I'd give it a B+. I was going to give it a B, but actually, listening back again, it's really talented, and it is catchy, and the guitar is outstanding. And I think if you are a guitar player, you'll really like it. But it is also for other people as well.
Yeah, I could go with that. I'd give it higher than a B+.
What would you give it? A star?
Not A star, because there are some tracks on there that I'm a bit meh. But I'd give it an A.
You give it an A, okay. So B+ and an A, that is an overall rating of an A minus.
My God, this is going to get confusing really fast.
But yeah, that is our album of the week.
Great. Gary Clarke Jr., This Land.
Gary Clarke Jr., This Land. Go and listen to it. Tell us what you think. Let us know in the comments below if you do have listened to it. Let us know what you thought of it. Let us know what rating you would give it. I'm always interested to read these comments, and we do get back to people as well. So we'll reply and stuff. If you've got any album recommendations that you want us to listen to, again, even if it's an old video, pop it down below. We'll probably still see it, and we'll check it out.
We should say goodbye then to you lovely people.
Yeah, thanks. Comment below, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. We release videos every single Friday at 3 p.m. So we'll see you next Friday at 3.
Yeah, brilliant.
Ahoy, hoy.
Later.
Bye.